Mordecai, you who know about this, I hear you say, is there any way to use Wizard's River Horses to avoid Khamûl wiping your whole hand? Well, Middle-earth Marauder, let's see what to do and what not to do in this case. To begin with, we will review the literature concerning the use of Khamûl the Easterling. First, we have the cards. Khamûl the Easterling, if played as a permanent event, it will remain in play until tapped during the opponent's movement hazard phase. Tapping against the hazard limit. When tapping, Khamûl the Easterling becomes a short event and forces opponent to discard one card of his choice for every Nazgûl permanent event in play, including this one, at the time of declaration. It will be important in the following minutes. And regarding Wizard's River Horses, the first part is what is of interest in this case is all Nazgûl events are discarded. Okay, apart from that, the card Rattan rulings regarding Khamûl the Easterling says that the number of cards discarded is set at the time of declaration. The cards are discarded from your opponent's hand, and also see ruling by term Nazgûl. And if we go by ruling by term, we can see the first bullet, which is interesting in this case. If a Nazgûl is tapped to become a short event as printed on its card, it turns into a short event upon declaration. At this point, the Nazgûl is a short event just as if had been played as such from your hand. This will be very interesting in this case. Okay, having gone over the important stuff, which will come up later, let's establish that the starting scenario is that there are 9 Nazgûl on the table, so that Khamûl's effect is devastating. So how does Khamûl interact with the Wizard's River Horses? Well, depending on how they are declared in the chain of events, it will work one way or another. But I can tell you that the result will be practically the same. Case 1. I declare the use of Khamûl and the opponent declares River Horses in response. On declaration, Khamûl becomes a short event, which checks the number of Nazgûl in play, including himself, so it's 9 in our example. Remember the rules, excerpt we discussed at the beginning, and will force the opponent to discard those 9 cards. De facto, and as we have seen before, Khamûl has left the table and has become a short event as if you just played it from your hand, all in declaration. In response, River Horses enter in the chain of events, which will discard all Nazgûl events in play. If nothing else enters the chain, we solve in reverse. First, the River Horses will discard all Nazgûl events. There is an important point here, and it's that a short event cannot be discarded. It is on the chain of events. It can be discarded from your hand at the end of the turn or whatever, but you cannot discard it if it's not on the table and also it's not on your hand. Cards that have the effect of cancelling short events use the term cancel, whether or not followed by discard. You have examples like Searching Eye, Many Sorrows Befall, Eye of the East, or Blind of the West, and so on. This is what makes River Horses not remove the Khamûl effect that it's still in the chain, pending resolution, because it's a short event already at that point. It can't just be discarded. It must be cancelled, and River Horses does not cancel. Once the Nazgûl played as permanent events have been discarded, Khamûl will be resolved, which we had already established in declaration that it became a short event that discards as many cards as there were Nazgûl events in play at the time of declaration, 9 in our example. The end result is that you have swept the table, but your opponent has swept your hand. Well, case 2. River Horses is declared, and Khamûl is declared in response. In this case, the River Horses will declare that they are going to sweep the table, and then Khamûl will declare that it becomes a short event, which will discard as many cards as there are Nazgûl in play at the time, 9. When it comes to resolving, first Khamûl makes you discard 9 cards from your hand, and then the River Horses clean the table. The result, once again, is that you have swept the table, but your opponent has swept your hand. So what are the options against Khamûl? Well, there are several. First, play the river horses outside of the movement hazard phase, or when your opponent has no hazard limit to declare to make it short event. That way, he can't put in a chain of events at all. Second, use another card to solve the situation. Specifically, if you're a hero, then praise to Elbereth, since by the wording of that particular card, it doesn't allow you to do anything in response with your Nazgul. If played at the start of the chain or in response, it can cancel Khamûl. Always. If you're a minion, the card to use is In the Name of Mordor. As its wording says cancel and discards, then it can take Khamûl short event as a target. Always do this in response, because if you played In the Name of Mordor to the permanent event, your opponent can respond, turning it into a short event if you are in the movement hazard phase and he has a hazard limit left. And so your In the Name of Mordor is left without a target, because the permanent Khamûl no longer exists. Third, it's not a safeguard against Khamûl, but it's a way to take advantage of the situation, and that is to put your own copy of Khamûl in your deck, either directly in the play deck, so that they don't play it on you, or spend some Marvel's Toll or Voices of Malice to remove it, or bring it from the sideboard to your play, surprisingly taking advantage of your opponent's deployment of Nazguls on the table. If you had it directly in deck and your opponent doesn't seem to be using this strategy, you can always take advantage of it to access the sideboard. That's the good thing about Nazguls. And that's all for today. I hope you have enjoyed this Middle-earth CCG pill, and I'll see you at Rivendell.